Hi everyone, today I just want to make a video around life starting again, and I think it's a perfect time of year, being December the 21st, to just make a new start. And I remember when I first quit alcohol in 2017, I remember being maybe even 3-4 months in, and I just felt so grateful that I'd been given this second opportunity at life sort of thing. And you know, even reminded me again yesterday, that's why I'm making this video here, that I saw some hungover people flying back from when I was coming back from Iceland, and I saw them at the bar, and I saw them in the security line, and folk had obviously been on a good 3, 4, 5 day session, and I was just so grateful that that was no longer me now, that I was kind of this sober drinker. And like I say, maybe it sounds a bit dramatic, I don't know, but I genuinely feel grateful that, you know, I kind of had got this second chance to kind of go again. And you know, like if you do relapse and get back at it again, then it's a third chance and maybe a fourth chance. But for me, you know, I just kind of wake up every day, and it was just a reminder yesterday, kind of like I say, seeing everybody hungover and all, that I was just so grateful that I'd been away on holiday, enjoyed it, was sober, was not boozing or anything like that, and just felt absolutely great. And there's quite a lot of things change, you know, for the better when you're kind of, as I say, your life starts again. And there just seems to be, I'll go over maybe a few things that I wrote down just to kind of discuss, and I know I've went over a few of them recently, and I probably will do in the past. I mean, I've had over 1,000 people join the channel in the last 10-12 days or whatever, so there'll be a lot of new people. And as I mentioned before, I enjoy talking about the good things as well as the kind of ups and downs, and talking about benefits is something that I loved listening to when I was kind of starting out my journey, just hearing what other people are feeling and how good it is and the positives, etc. And the first thing's around friendships, and a lot of the times I think a lot of the messages I get are around people being really worried about losing friends, and I totally get that. You know, nobody wants to be Billy No Mates and have nobody to phone on a Friday, and you know, I just want to give a bit of reassurance that that's not really what happens, I think, in many cases. And I'm going a lot on my own personal experience, and for me, all those old pub friends kind of slowly die out, and you know, and it's not something that I think you mourn or you grieve about, because after a few months your mentality changes as well, like a switch in your brain goes. And I tried going to the pub in the beginning and tried having alcohol beers, going there at 5 o'clock after work on a Friday like I used to do when I was a kind of weekend British binge drinker, and it just was boring. And after a few months you're kind of like, you know what, I can't be bothered as well. And you find that your relationships with existing friends that have been there your whole life, friends that you used to meet not like outside in normal settings, not always kind of there when it's booze only, and you know, you end up building up such a great relationship with them as well. And so it's nothing to fear about, and I'm happier than ever with the friends I've got, and like I say, being closer than ever with them. It's just brilliant. Another thing that's just, I felt, you know, it's just a brilliant thing, is the brain fog going. And brain fog just covers so many areas, but I think once that goes, you get your sense of purpose back, you get a sense of kind of direction, strategic thinking, rather than thinking about the day and now, thinking about how on earth am I going to get through this work day, you know, can't believe I did this at the weekend again, what a joke I am. And just that brain fog lifting, just, I never thought, like I say, I would think this clear and feel this clear, and it's just such a great thing to wake up in the morning without this mist and fog in your brain where you're just not thinking straight and not thinking the way you should, just because, like I say, you're just struggling to kind of get thoughts together to get through the day with the anxiety and the fog. And it's just, when that goes, it just opens up all these great opportunities. And even this morning, as the kind of new year was rolling in, well, we'll roll in tomorrow, I'm thinking about kind of what I'm going to do this year, maybe sign up for a few courses, what holidays am I going to book, and that's just something that wouldn't have happened before. And it's like I say, it's just a brilliant thing that I think with most folk will definitely leave after a couple of months. Another thing is just, I can't believe I got so much time back. I think once you get older, and it's funny, I was speaking to a lot of people with this recently, I think once you get older, days seem to just fly by, and weeks fly by, and a year flies by, and if you're just going to the pub all the time and doing the same thing every weekend, you look back at your year and nothing's really changed. You've not done anything spectacular, and I'm just so grateful for all the time I have now. If you wake up at 5, 6 in the morning, or you're staying up later and being productive, whatever, I've got a few mates that are pretty nocturnal as well, especially gamer mates, and it's amazing what you can get done. By the time, if you're sleeping till 8:30 in the morning and just getting up, having a quick shower, then going to work, compared to getting up at 5, and you've got enough time to squeeze the gym in, you've got enough time to squeeze in cooking your breakfast and going for a walk and things like that, and it's such a better way to fill your days. And the weekends as well, even though you've got the same 48 hours on Saturday and Sunday, it just seems to last 10 times longer, and it's just something that I'm so grateful to have time for, because so many of the days, maybe you could argue half the days in the week, half my life, I was basically just wishing days away. And that saying goes, you should never wish away your days, because one day you'll have no more to wish away. And it's so true, especially like you say, as you get older. I mean, I'm 42, I'm not like old or anything, but I've found just the last few years that the days were just, when I was drinking back in, like, especially in my 30s, it was just, floating by and looking back and reflecting on the previous week or month. I'd done nothing spectacular, achieved nothing, ticked no boxes, got no further in my life, had no end goals anyway, and everything was just wishy-washy and just wasting away your days. And I'm so grateful for every day that comes, and it's just another great thing to have when you're making use of your time. And another thing I'm grateful for. Another thing is just having finances and having money now. I've always been quite lucky. I had good jobs. I got a job in oil and gas when I was younger pretty quickly, and they paid well, but it just seemed no matter how much I earned, or no matter how big a raise I got or a bonus I got, I was just blowing it on anything. If I got a big raise, I would just end up getting a really nice holiday somewhere where I would just booze. And I don't think, and that was pretty much it. The first few days would have been fine when I'd been feeling all right, getting the beers in, but after that I would have been struggling. And I just never really seemed to have money around. And the first year I remember I quit, I just became a lot more frugal. It was just a thing that I spoke a few times before about, where you're scrimping and saving during the day. Maybe I shouldn't buy that jumper, maybe we should get the cheaper hotel, maybe we shouldn't pay for the airport lounge, thing. And then you would go out at night and blow 200, 300 pounds on a mad night out or a mad weekend. And then you're sitting there on the Monday with nothing, just feeling absolute terrible. And you could have booked a nice hotel, you could have bought that nice jumper, you could have bought that nice meal, but instead you just blew it all buying people drinks. And there's just such a safety net as well. If you manage to save over a couple of years and you've got a big nest egg sitting there, if anything happens at your work or you get made redundant, it's not really a big deal, because you can deal with it, and that brings a lot of anxiety away. There's nothing worse. And I was there for many, many years, where you're just living paycheck to paycheck, because, like I say, regardless of how much you're getting paid, you seem to just squander it away on crap. And I'm just so grateful for that security that I've got now. And it's not easy, of course. I mean, some people might have loans to pay off, or car loans, phone loans, or just need to pay stuff off. But once that's done and you start getting that nest egg, and it doesn't need to be crazy amounts as well. If you've got enough money to survive on for 6 months, if you're made redundant, brilliant. Because if you do get made redundant, like I say, get on the job hunt, and it's not panic station straight away, and just having that, when you've got that in your back of your mind, that you don't need to really worry about it too much. It's just, like I say, it just brings you so much joy. The last thing I want to talk about is that I'm just grateful for is all the small joys returning. And even as I sit here just now, I just enjoy and feeling the cold wind on my face, feeling great, just positive about tomorrow. Even tonight, I can't wait. I'm going to get a nice takeaway, a few friends over, watch the fireworks and the bells, and that will be it. And I'll wake up tomorrow. I've already signed up for a course for next year, doing some Microsoft stuff, which I'm really looking forward to, and I'm just genuinely looking forward to smashing it. And you know, just even when I woke up this morning, I came back from holiday yesterday, just hearing the birds sing in the morning and enjoying my cup of coffee in the morning, not feeling like I'm away to spew or panicking that I spent so much money last week, the money that I probably didn't have. You're just so grateful for it, and just these little things that were numbed. I think that's the only word I can say. It was just numbed before. They've all returned, and it's just a brilliant position to be in. So anyone out there who's planning on quitting for the new year, and just if you're listening to this at another time of year, just know that a brand new life awaits you, and it's something I just didn't even comprehend it being this good. I knew I would feel better, I knew I'd have more energy, etc. But when you're actually living in the moment where you're having all these great feelings, and you know, you just feel alive again, it's just something that I'm so grateful for every day. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll keep the videos coming, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.